of the other things also we get asked a lot is fee structures, because a broker would spend a lot of time with a client, and again, as you said, they would assess their needs, spend hours in research and providing advice. Consumers want to know, is there a price for that? Is there a fee for that? Or how does a broker generally get paid?
Well, generally, and historically, brokers have been paid by the commission that is paid to them by the lender who eventually writes the loan. Though there are some brokers now, because of, especially with complicated loans, are starting to charge fees, and that's fine as long as they disclose to you up front that they are charging a fee and what it is and what it's for, and also the fact that they're getting a commission, and then you make a decision as to taking into account all the other things that the broker tells you about themselves, or you find out about them. You make a decision then whether you want to deal with them or deal with someone else.
Interesting. Okay, off the record now, RBA rates, are they looking like, and this is totally off the record, are they looking like coming down, up? What do you think?
Well, nothing's off the record, unfortunately.
No, I know, we're off the record here. But
look, I think the conventional wisdom is that the cash rate is probably going to stay flat for the rest of this year. The RBA is faced with, as we've heard, the two-speed economy where the mining industry is booming ahead. The rest of the economy is struggling a bit, so they've got to try and control inflation that comes out of the booming part of the economy, but also take into account the other side of the economy that's hurting. So I think, although there have been people who are saying rates should drop and should drop fairly drastically, I think the likelihood over the next few months, probably for the rest of this year, is that rates will probably stay flat. I mean, the big unknown here is what happening outside Australia. Is the European situation going to get it worse? Is the United States situation going to get worse?
Does it really have an impact, though, on the Australian economy? And we're getting off the record here a little bit, so we'll keep it brief, but it's an interesting discussion, and maybe we will have this another time with you.
Well, look, it can have an effect. I'm not suggesting that that's the major thing that would affect the Australian economy, but it is a factor. But the key thing is the RBA is looking at how to control inflation in Australia. That's their key concern.
And it is a difficult one at the moment, given the two-speed economy.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Phil, okay, so I guess we've talked a little bit about the Mortgage and Finance Association of Australia and how they take care of their brokers, I guess. I would like to know, what is your relationship between the banks? Like, how closely do you work with CBA, Westpac, AMP, or are we independent from them? What's the relationship there?
Well, the relationship of the broker to the banks is an independence, though the broker necessarily has to have the banks. If I can use a sort of a manufacturing example, the banks manufacture the products and the brokers sell them and advise on them. So you've got to have a relationship with your supplier, and because we're representing brokers, yes, we have a very good relationship with the banks. Brokers write about over 40%, 41% of all mortgages, and a lot of the mortgages, even though they're written by the brokers, are in turn manufactured or supplied by the banks. Yeah, so it's a partnership. It's a part of a distribution chain from manufacturer to consumer, and the broker is the advisor and the distributor in the middle.
So MFAA has to have a very strong relationship with those manufacturers or suppliers?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, Phil, that's all we've got time for today. I know it's a very brief little discussion we've had, but we really appreciate your time. I guess in closing, how do consumers get in touch with the MFAA, and how do they get in touch with an authorised broker, I guess?
Well, we have a website, www.mfaa.com.au, and on the screen there you'll see a click on area where you can find a broker, find an MFAA approved broker. That's the thing to look at. And I mean, it's very useful because you can find brokers there, but you can also check whether the person you're dealing with is an MFAA approved broker. And you should always ask whether they are.
Absolutely. Just on that note, and we did miss a key point there, the training that's involved in becoming a broker. I mean, I know that the standards are improving immensely, and the government is putting, I guess, stricter rules and regulations about the type of advice they can give and the type of people that can give the advice. What is the training schedule for an accredited MFAA broker?
Well, the Act, which covers the industry, the National Consumer Credit Protection Act, has certain levels, but we've always said that our members must have higher levels than legislation. So to be an MFAA broker, we've just introduced this year, they must all have diploma levels. So there is a diploma in mortgage and finance broking. So consumers can be confident if they're dealing with MFAA approved broker, they abide by our code of practice and our disciplinary rules, and also have this higher level of education. So the idea of going to an MFAA approved broker is you're dealing with an expert in that area of credit finance.
And you would take care that they continue to keep their skills updated?
Absolutely. They have to have their skills maintained, do professional development, and we have a disciplinary process, so if perchance something does go wrong, consumers can lodge complaints, and we have a mechanism of dealing with people who do the wrong thing. Fortunately, that doesn't happen very often.
Well, it sounds great, and seriously, look, we do get a lot of inquiries from clients, and whilst, Us1 as a company do write a lot of loans, I think consumers struggle sometimes to understand that relationship between a broker and a bank such as CBA or Westpac. So thank you for clearing that up for us, and we would love to have you back, on a regular basis, just to discuss different developments.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Fantastic. We really appreciate your time. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
Thank you.